Are the means to sins also sinful? Why or why not? So the means to a sin. So okay, sins are obviously problematic, but sometimes you do have a situation where an action in and of itself is not a problem, but it leads to, it generally or in a specific situation is leading people to committing a sin, then it does become a problem. So that's why we have this provision in the Sharia and in some of the madhahib, which they call saddu dhara'i, blocking the means, to a sin. And so this is something really significant. It's So we have to recognize that the sin is what's forbidden and blameworthy, and something that never leads to a sin is never going to be blameworthy, and something that very frequently leads to a sin is going to be blameworthy. And then something that could, it's the situation depends on the individual. So so for example, I'll give you a position in the Hanafi school. In the Hanafi school, the fatwa position, so what the Hanafi position is, if something intoxicates you in a large amount, you can't drink even a drop of it. And this is the position over the other madhahib as well. So beer, or say vodka or something like this, it's not wine technically. So according to the Hanafi understanding, anything that is made from dates or grapes is wine. Everything else is considered a muskir, an intoxicant, if it intoxicates you. In the other schools, they consider all of it wine. So it's just a difference. But the early position in the school, the position of Abu Hanifa, was that if it's not made out of dates and grapes, you could potentially drink it. So like you had some, what the Arabs used to do, something called nabid. They'd get some dates and they'd put it in water, toss it in water. Right? So nabada, to toss. So they did put it in water and they'd leave it there for a couple of days before it fermented and became alcoholic. Right? You can still drink that. Right? And so the early position in the school was that if it's not made out of dates or grapes, right, something else like beer from Bali or whatever, what happened is that if 8 glasses will intoxicate you, I mean, you could drink 5 or 6, 3 or 4, because they won't intoxicate you. And so that was the early position of the Hanafi school. And then what they found is that, people who are saying, oops, I had one too many. And then the fusaq, people who engage in these sorts of things, would use this as an excuse. And they started saying, oh, well, it happened. So the ulama said, right, the fatwa is now on the fatwa, the position of Imam Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani, which is, ma askara kathiruhu fa qaliluhu haram. Right? That's something that intoxicates in a large amount, even a small amount is haram. So for all intents and purposes, that first position, for everyone now, it doesn't exist. Like you turn up on the Day of Judgment, you start using that position, you're gonna have a difficult time. So so that's what it is, that when something it does lead to a sin, and a lot, then it's treated as though it's a sin in and of itself, as a safety barrier and a buffer for people, right? And that's generally how it works. Allah knows best.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله